I'm Zim, and you're listening to the Helpful Photographer Podcast in collaboration with Boundless Photo Safari. To register for a safari, please visit boundlessphotosafari.com. Way back in episode 85, I did a short podcast on cleaning your camera. Today, I'm re-recording that podcast because recently a participant told me that they had never cleaned their gear, and they had had their camera for well over 3 or 4 years. So I decided it was time to make a more concise and thorough podcast on how to clean your equipment and keep your camera running smoothly. So let's start from the top, literally. First, the lens cap. Clean it inside and out, but mostly the inside. That's where all the grime collects, and that's the part that lives closest to the front of your lens. It's amazing how dirty that thing can get. I actually stopped using lens caps for decades, but I've gotten back into using them, and yeah, I've noticed that they get filthy fast. Next, take off the UV filter. Since I'm a little rough with my gear, I use UV filters to protect the glass. I make sure to clean the threads on both sides of the filter. I'm always shocked how much grime builds up there. I usually use a Q-tip or a microfiber cloth. Just run it around the threads on both sides of the filter until it comes up clean. From there, I move to the lens itself. I like to use Zeiss wipes on my glass, but you can also use a spray cleaner with a microfiber or a disposable PEC cloth. I think they call it a PEC cloth. Just make sure if you're using a reusable cloth that it's clean. But be sure not to spray the lens itself, or anything on your camera for that matter. Always spray the cloth away from your equipment and then use the damp cloth on your equipment. And on the back area of my lens, I'll use a PEC cloth to get into the big areas. To get into the nooks and crannies, I'll use a dry Q-tip. For the contacts, use a dry Q-tip. And if your lens has switches, like image stabilization or focus mode switches, run the Q-tip around those too. There, you'll probably want to get it just a little bit damp, like with soapy water or just straight up water. You shouldn't be able to squeeze any water out of that Q-tip. It should just be a little bit damp. That way, it's going to pick up all that dirt. Moving on to the camera body, I'll use the PEC cloth again for all the metal bits and contact areas. Make sure you get the mount clean. And if you're shooting a DSLR, you can gently clean the mirror too. Again, use one of those Zeiss wipes. For the outside, like the grips and the body, you can use a damp cloth with mild soapy water, or any camera-safe pre-moistened wipes. They say not to use acetone or Windex, and that's generally good advice, but between you and me, I do sometimes use a little bit of Windex on the outside of my camera, where it gets really grimy, especially the bottom. You're going to have to make your own decision on that one. Next up, the battery compartment. Open it up, blow it out, use one of those hand blowers, and use a Q-tip to clean the contacts. Don't forget to clean the battery door too, and make sure you use an eraser to clean the contacts on your batteries itself. That is, if the contacts are exposed. Then do the same for the memory compartment, but here, don't stick anything inside the slots, just blow it out gently, and clean the door gently as well. Don't break that door. And definitely don't break the door on your battery compartment either. Be gentle. Make sure you also give your LCD and viewfinder some love. Again, use a microfiber or PEC cloth on the LCD and a Q-tip for the viewfinder. If your camera has an eye sensor, that's the little sensor that turns the LCD off when you look through the viewfinder. Make sure that's clean too. I usually pop off the rubber eyepiece and clean around it. That's another area that gets shockingly dirty over time. Last step, your bag. Take everything out of your bag. Then take your empty bag outside and give it a good shake. I always find it amazing how much dirt there is in my actual bag. I actually do put my bag in the washing machine about once every couple of years. The shoulder strap most certainly goes in. That thing is filthy. And that's it. A good thorough cleaning from top to bottom. It might sound like a lot, but it really doesn't take long, and it keeps your gear working smoothly for years. Dirty contacts, buttons, and switches can lead to weird behavior in your camera. So this little bit of maintenance can save you a lot of headaches later. I hope that was helpful. Until next time, keep on shooting.